So it's been a little bit since I've done a video, and there's a few reasons why I've waited. But anyways, you're going to be looking at some snow because it's snowing here, and it's cold. I do not like this weather at all, not where we're at. And you will hear me sniffle, and I'm nasally. It's the weather. I promise I'm not doing any drugs, so nothing illegal here. Just saying. So, I've been wanting to do a video for a while, but I've just been kind of listening here and there when I've had time, and just like, wow, can it get any worse in this drama circle? Can it get any worse? Absolutely, it can. So, I figured I would just wait. And I did say that I was going to try to stay away from doing videos on behaviors all the time. And, I was going to be busy and I wouldn't be doing them as often. So, like I said, I've just been listening and here and there. And, of course, I don't catch everything, but I've just been waiting to do this video. So, and I just want to lump it all together. This is going to be a longer video. I wanted to lump it all together, and that's kind of like why I did like pulling the Band-Aid off. I'm just like calling it all out as I see it all at once, lumping it all together. And most of this is just my opinion. You can agree, not agree, whatever. It is what it is. It's just the way that I'm seeing things, okay? So we're just going to go step by step. Now, I haven't really talked about it. I mean, I've made some community posts, but I haven't really talked about my feelings on what happened between Noodle Mash and Mrs. Portland. My feelings on the courts, what happened and stuff like that. So we're going to go over that. Now, I've made videos and I put out there how I felt about Mrs. Portland going after Noodle Mash, what she has said and what she has done. I've done videos on Mrs. Portland going after others in the community. I still stand behind that. Some might not agree with me there. Some might agree with me. I don't know. I completely understand that Mrs. Portland has disabilities, and she might have some more disabilities that came out that I might not have known about that really affects her compulse control. And I already thought that she had issues with that, right? And I've said from day one that I did not believe that she had the coping skills for this drama community. That this was not a place for her. But, we all have that freedom to go wherever we want to go, right? We do. And I just felt that it wasn't good for her mental health, and it was going to get her in trouble at some point. And everybody has the right to stand up for themselves when they are doxxed, lied about, harassed. They absolutely are. Now, I also did I talked a little bit about, I don't even know what video it was, if it was my last one, the one before that, I'm not even sure, that I thought that this might have just went a little bit too far, that I don't think, and this is just my opinion, that Mrs. P is a physical threat. But some people around her could be, right? Because she did dox Noodle Mash. That's a fact. We all know that, all right? No matter which side you're on. There you go again. You have to have sides, right? There shouldn't be any sides, but you have to have them out here. She did. She doxed. And she did make a thread about, breaking Noodle Mash like a wishbone. She did put some lies out there. We know that. But, when you're putting lies out there, I hear a lot of lies from a lot of people. The lies aren't okay, but Mrs. P isn't the only one putting lies out there in these YouTube streets. I can sit back and listen, just being from, on the outside, because I don't have a beef with anybody. Nobody's done me wrong. There's a lot of lies going on, and when you go back and you, like I said, you just listen, you see a lot of people that are twisting things, or they're just downright lying. So she's not the only one that does it. But yes, she has lied. And Noodle Mash does have some proof of the lies. Excuse me. Now, we can't say for sure exactly what happened back when they were teenagers. I only put my opinion out there from what I heard, the video that Mrs. P put out and it's no longer there. And some not text messages, Facebook messages, where you can kind of see, if Noodle Mash was a bully, why would Mrs. P react the way she did when they first met again? It just doesn't make sense if Noodle, bullied her. But I did say that I thought that this, went too far. And I thought that there was others in, that got involved in this. They had a peace treaty, right? This peace or truce or whatever, peace treaty. I don't even know why I said that. And others involved themselves to break this because they had an issue with Noodle Mash. And in my opinion, I think that Mrs. P is easily manipulated, okay? Just like my younger son. Because, he's on the spectrum. So he's easily manipulated by others. And there's a lot of people out there that are, when they have, certain disabilities. And this truce that Noodle Mash and Mrs. P made was broken because of outsiders' influences. Now, does that stop Mrs. P from doing what she did? She's the only one that controls what comes out of her mouth and stuff like that. So, anyways, with that being said, I still stand behind that, okay? That you have a right to debunk lies. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to go legal if you have to go legal. And that includes everybody, right? It does. No matter who you are out there. But I do think that it went too far. I still do. Also, just my opinion, and I said it before, when you are filing an order on somebody, you really don't have to get an attorney. It's normally the person that you're filing it on. Those people that are the person, let me take that back. The person that's getting one filed on them, they're the ones that need to worry about an attorney because it's being filed on them. Now, you can get an attorney if you want to get one. If you don't think that, you got enough proof or whatever, but it doesn't cost anything to file a protective order or a stalking order or an order, it doesn't even cost, if one is filed against you, to go in court and try to, fight one. I've said before, and I think it was in my last video, you cannot even show up, just don't show up, and one will be put on you by default. It's not criminal, okay? It's not a criminal case. You're not going to get in trouble in most states, at least not mine, not the one I used to live in. If you don't show up, you'll just have one put on you by default. You're not going to go to jail for not showing up. But I thought it was really bizarre that so much money had to be raised to, file and to go into debt to have an attorney um, to file, a stalking order. Now, I put out a video months and months ago about my friend and the people that he let move in his home. And I spoke about that, I think, maybe in my last video, I don't know, or the video before that, how they messed up on his order because the people that he let move in his home, they were homeless. He thought they were friends, right? And they were supposed to be living in one bedroom, and they kind of took over his whole home and then destroyed it. I already did a whole video on that. And the male threatened him with a gun. And so he's like, I want them out of my home. And so when he went down and he filed an order against them, they made it a stalking order, okay, automatically. And I just thought that was the strangest thing because they weren't stalking him. They were living in the home. And why they made it a stalking order, I have no idea, because it was bizarre. He didn't ask for a stalking order. He asked for a, just a protection order or whatever. It's different here if you're married or if you're, domestic, or if it's, someone not related to you. You have your protective order and restraining order. So, kind of the same thing, but just named different, right? So when he went down to file for that, it didn't cost him anything, and he didn't need an attorney at all. And it didn't cost him anything for the police to serve the guy, and the guy tried to evade that piece of paper. He wouldn't answer the door. He wouldn't be home. He was trying to evade it because he knew that eventually my friend wanted him and his significant other out of the house. And so he was trying to evade it. But they did, they were able to serve him, but it didn't cost a dime. And then when my friend went to court, I already talked all about that. It didn't cost him anything. And he didn't have any proof of nothing. He had the temporary order, right? Because they do that for the 30 days. He didn't have any proof. It was just his word that he pulled out a gun and threatened me. That was it. There was no proof. And if they would have showed up to court, it would have been a he said, she said type of thing. Or he said. But they didn't show up, so it was by default. And then I already went over how hard it was to get them out of the home, because then you go into a tenant situation. Okay, that's totally different. But, and they made it a stalking order too, which just was bizarre, and that kind of hurt things as well. But what I'm saying is, he didn't need an attorney. When I had one on my ex, and this is what I want to talk about too. I know that different, states are different. And with my ex, I had to take out one on him. Now, I think I talked about in my last video, I'm not even sure because it's been, a little while since I did one, where I had to do one, for my son. My son asked when he was 17 to take one out on his dad. I didn't do an attorney either. But when and I might have talked about when I left my ex too, where I took one out on him. Now, and I might even have said this. I don't remember. But I only got an order. When I took one out, I got an order for 2 years. That's all they gave me one for. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. It was 1 year, not 2. It was only good for 1 year. They didn't give me a permanent order. of protection. And my ex, he would show up at my work. My daughter is the one that told me that he told her that he was going to be, and he was a hunter in camo. And where I worked at, they had like woods right there. And that he was going to be hiding out and he was going to blow my brains out. All right. So I had to, even before that, I was having someone escort me out to my car for my work. I was scared to death. I had proof. I had pictures of black eyes, swollen face, all right? Hospital records. I had proof, solid proof, that this man beat the living shit out of me. And of course, I got the order. I mean, it's just a piece of paper. But it was 1 year. 1 year. And yeah, he lived real close. And he also made a threat, and this is what he told my children, told my daughter, and also a friend of his, that he was going to put drugs underneath my car or around my car or in my car or something like that, so that I could have my kids taken away from me. So what I did is I made sure, and at this time I lived in a different state. I lived in Tennessee. And I made sure I went down to the police, small town at that time. And I let them know that, hey, it probably, don't know why I did it, but just heads up. If I ever get pulled over for any reason, I don't do anything because of the line of work I'm in, okay? I don't do anything, but this is a threat that was made. If anything is in my car, under my car, whatever. This is a threat that was made. Now, I also got, I had a knee injury from work, okay? And where I worked at, you still would come in, even if you were injured. You would come in and do light duty. I'm not going to go into all of that, but you did light duty, and then you would be off and then come back in. I ended up having to have knee surgery. But they got a phone call, and I know it was from my ex, and he said that I was smoking pot, which I don't do. And they knew that I was, what the issue was, because they would have to escort me out to my car, right? But even though they knew what the issue was, they got a phone call, so they had to drug test me right on the spot. So I get it, what it's like to be scared to death. He knew where I lived, he knew where I worked, and I had, with my boys, where their daycare was. Absolutely. I only got 1 year. 1 year. I was thinking it was 2, but it was 1. And yes, he had issues, mental issues, okay? Proven. Or not court documented, but documented. Now, later on, I said before in my videos that, we made amends, even though he still had issues. We would still have our arguments and stuff like that. And then I met, my second husband, and I had him, for protection. I didn't feel as scared anymore. But the most dangerous time of being, with an abuser is leaving. That's the most dangerous. And right after you left, because they don't have that control anymore. So why I'm putting that out there is a lot of people aren't lucky enough to get a permanent order. And it is just a piece of paper. It is. So that's why I was thinking, this kind of went too far. And this is, people are going to talk about it, right after it happens. They're going to talk on these YouTube streets. But this has been just talked about. And I know Natasha was talking about it, and Natasha was what? Helping Mrs. P. If Mrs. P asked Natasha to help her, then, she didn't have an attorney, she didn't have anybody, then I guess so be it if that's what Mrs. Portland wanted, right? But I have heard Noodle Mash talking about it continuously. And I have seen her in chat just bringing up the courts, the courts, the courts. This is what happened. And even if the conversation or the topic that the creator is talking about has nothing to do with, they might just be talking about Natasha or whatever. And I have seen Noodle Mash bringing up, yeah, well, that's what she said in court, or that's how she was in court. And it's the court, the court, the court. And I get that if Natasha's going to talk about, and if Noodle Mash believes that Natasha is saying, she lied, and Noodle Mash feels like she didn't lie, and, it's going back tit for tat. But it's just going to, I think there's another live that's scheduled to talk about the hearing again. Now, Noodle Mash can talk about it all she wants. It's her prerogative. It happened to her. That's not what I'm really getting at. What I'm getting at is, in my mind, I knew, in the back of my mind, I knew that this would be content for a while. Okay? And Mrs. P can't really say anything. I mean, she can talk about it. And this is what I want to address too. Mrs. P can talk about it. She just cannot talk to Noodle Mash on social media. She can't address Noodle Mash. She can't. All right? She cannot ask somebody to speak to Noodle Mash. That is what is irritating the shit out of me. Some of these people are talking about third-party contact, right? Especially some that say that they're maybe not an attorney, but they work or they teach law or whatever the hell they do with law, and they're like, Natasha's going to get Mrs. P in trouble. You all are going to get Mrs. P in trouble for what you're saying, for what you're doing. So we're going to talk about that, okay? This is what irritated me the most about it. Again, Noodle Mash can do whatever she wants to do, and she has every right to protect herself. She has every right to feel, and I want to make this clear, if she feels like she was in danger by Mrs. P or people around Mrs. P, but this order is only on Mrs. P, not on anybody else, okay? But the thing that irritates me the most is what people are putting out there. And they're like, Natasha was a witness, okay? So Natasha is going at, Noodle Mash, saying things, and other people are saying things, and the sides are fighting. This is a drama circle. So you have one side that is saying, we can talk about it all we want. And this is just what I was getting at the beginning. But if you guys are talking about it, you better watch what you're saying, because you're going to get Mrs. P in trouble because of what's coming out of your mouth. Now, no, that's not how it works. And then the order was being shown saying, the third-party contact and harassment and stuff like that. And I've made community posts. And even Noodle Mash has said, I can't help what other people say or do, right? She can't help what other people say or do. She can't help that other people... Let me back that up. I made a community post, and someone, I guess, did a screenshot and scurried over and gave it to to Noodle Mash. Now, that was kind of taken out of context, okay? Because Noodle Mash addressed it. She didn't say my name, but she read part of it. And here's the thing. You're in the drama circle. People are going to make community posts. They're going to say things. But, I mean, if you have to make a video or a community post over every little tiny thing somebody says, I mean, if that's your thing, then go ahead. Okay? But it's the drama circle. And just like Mrs. P chose to be here, so did you, Noodle Mash. Okay? I don't agree with any harassment that you're getting, and I have seen some harassment that you are getting, just like I am still seeing some harassment that Mrs. P is getting. What I meant by that community post when I said, excuse me, that some people on that side are still doing some things like videos and stuff like that, and that you can tell them, you know, I don't even know if I said your name. I might have just said some people can tell people to stop it and they would listen. What I meant by that is talking about the hearing, right? Not that, because Noodle Mash is like, I can't control what other people do or what they say or what they should do on their on their channel, because there's other channels, and she named a few that do videos on Mrs. P. And I have no right to tell them what to do. You're absolutely right. I wasn't talking about that. I guess sometimes you have to really spell things out for people to completely understand. That's not what I was talking about. Nobody has a right to tell other people exactly what to do with their channel. But when you're sitting in a community and you are like one of the main people in there, there are big supporters of you. And they are. Right? Some of these people are big supporters of you. That's clear. And they're making nasty memes of Mrs. P. I'm not talking about some of the videos, but they're talking about this court case. They're using your paper that you put out there. That's yours, right? That's your copy that you put out there. You redacted a bunch of stuff, but it's yours, not theirs. And they're using it to say that basically this covers me too, which it doesn't. Because I'm associated with Noodle Mash, so you talking or whatever, this stalking order, this thing is covering me too. That's what I'm talking about. You could tell them, hey, that's not cool. And yes, I know Noodle Mash has never made fun of looks or anything like that. She has not. The people she associates with and sits with, they absolutely do. They're bullies. They bash. They have bashed Mrs. P's looks, and yes, she has said over and over not to harass Mrs. P. But she's also said, I can't control what other people say or do. No, she can't. So what I meant by that was, when they're talking about this hearing, they're talking about this stalking order, that they aren't using it to their advantage and trying to use the stalking order as covering themselves, like a few people are trying to do, or what they were trying to do, that it covers them too, because it doesn't. It covers Noodle Mash. It's about Mrs. P and Noodle Mash. That's it. All right? It doesn't cover anybody else. It doesn't cover anybody else in this community. And that's what people are making it trying to look like in the beginning. That, hey, you better watch it. You better watch it. Now, Noodle Mash said, and I hope that made sense. That's what I was talking about. Or hey, don't use my paper, you know. All it is going to fuel the flames, you know. Don't share around my stuff. That's my thing. And it only covers, you know, me and you know, only covers me. Doesn't cover anybody else. And nobody else should be talking about, well, they could be talking about the case, right? But some people were talking directly to Mrs. Portland about the case. We'll get to that in a minute. That's what I'm talking about. But Noodle Mash did say, I can't help what other people do and say, right? Absolutely, she can't. She can tell them over and over again, don't do this, don't do that. And they can still do it. Now, if they were her big supporters and big friends, and if they cared, and if she asked them not to do it, you know, don't do it. If you cared about me, you wouldn't do it because it's just going to put more shit on me. Because, yes, there's people harassing Noodle Mash. And there's people harassing Mrs. P. And that shouldn't be happening, right? Shouldn't be happening. This is done and over with. It's done. And I think Mrs. P hasn't really been on YouTube. I think she did something nasty. We're going to get into that because this kind of ties this all together. I did say this video is going to be long because we're going to cover a lot. But in that same breath, Mrs. P can't control what other people are doing either. So for the ones that are being YouTube lawyers and saying, all of you that are harassing harassing Noodle Mash, that's going to come back and put Mrs. Portland in jail. Because, you know, it's the harassment. That's a third party contact. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to say contract. Because of what Natasha is saying. Because Natasha was a witness. Natasha's got a mouth. She's going to say what she's going to say. All these other people, they're going to say what they're going to say. That is not going to affect Mrs. Portland at all. All right? Unless Mrs. Portland is telling them to contact Noodle Mash. Unless she's inciting people to go after Noodle Mash. Unless she is trying to get a message to Noodle Mash through a third person. That's the third party contact. All right? Like I said, if she is trying to contact Noodle through a third party, if she says, you know, tell Noodle this, tell Noodle that, can you ask Noodle this, can you ask Noodle that, that is what is called a third party contact. Some of these people, geez, like I said, I've been there, done that. All right? Now, the harassment part. Because I seen Siren did a video and he was trying to use, in my opinion, this is what I got out of it, he was trying to use this stalking thing that's Noodle Mash's to cover himself. Because Mrs. Portland, I think she did something that I called out before. I did a video and I called this out, right? I did. Because she did the exact same thing, and I guess she took it down. I don't know if she did it. Again, I think I didn't watch all the Sirens all the way through, but I think he showed proof. Did this happen after the court, or was this before? Because she did the exact same thing before. So I don't know if it was before or after. So someone would have to correct me on that. Because, like I said, I already called it out in a video on what she did to Siren. where she talks about his children on being a P, and she talks about his deceased wife and what she feels that he did to his deceased wife. I already talked about that in one of my videos because she did the exact same thing. I don't know how long ago it was. So if she did it again after this court hearing, Siren was using that and saying that the way that it made it sound, since he's associated with Noodle Mesh, she's harassing him or whatever, and because he was showing that order, that this protects him. No. It doesn't. It doesn't. You would have to get one on Mrs. Portland as well. Okay? You are not protected. And that's what some of the reason why I made that post. All you other people out here in YouTube land are not protected under Noodle Mash's stalking order. All right? You're not. So if Mrs. P goes at you, you would have to go get your own. You all aren't protected under her order. And all these other people that are harassing Noodle Mash are not going to they're not covered under this order either. This order is only on Mrs. P. That's what I was trying to come across. Because the way that it sounds like, and the way that I took it, is that a lot of people were saying, keep it up, because this order, and I'm not saying that they said it these exact words. This order is saying that you're harassing me, and it's going to hurt Mrs. P, and you can't harass me because I got this order. They shouldn't be harassing anyways. Nobody should be harassing anybody, right? They shouldn't. Let it go. Let it go. But this order is only on Mrs. P. And if she is not attacking Noodle, if she is not contacting Noodle, if she is not telling these other people to do this, she has no control over what all these other people are doing or saying, just like Noodle says she has no control. That makes complete sense, right? Now we're going to get back to Siren. All right. Now, Siren, like I said, I already called all that out that Mrs. P said, because I thought it was very low. And he's saying that it is all, false information, defamation, and this and that. But here's the thing. I called it out because it was low. Some of you people put way too much personal information out in this drama circle, knowing that there is such a turnover, there is such a falling out, and when you put stuff out about your personal life that is so in-depth, it's going to be used as content. And then people are going to start digging. And I know Siren told his story of what happened on Natasha's channel. And he talked about his wife. He talked about his children. He talked about them being taken away. He talked about what his children accused him of, and them being in foster care and eventually adopted. Okay? He's the one that put it out there. People, why do you do this? Because other people are thinking to themselves, what was everybody saying about Mrs. P and her child? No, I'm not talking about children. well, I guess I am, but I'm only talking about what other creators have already put out about themselves. Why do you do this? Especially something so personal, when you know that other people are going to look at you side-eyed, right? And some people are going to dig in, and they're going to really look hard. And I don't agree with digging in. People know that. I don't agree with going real life and doxing and any of that horse shit. Don't agree with it. But why do you guys do this? I already said I would never even mention my adult children's names just because of this crap. But I mean, people made their accusations on Mrs. P because they're like, you know, they don't take kids away for no reason, right? They don't take them away for no reason. So why would you put something like that out there? I just don't get it. You're the one that did that. You're the one that put it out there for people to say what they say. I just don't understand. Now, another thing, back to Noodle Mash, about the doxing. I seen her make very light comments about Jessica Lynn being doxed. When I say light comments, they were just kind of, well, you guys, I don't even know the exact comments, but it was making very light because she sits with the community that does not like Jessica Lynn, of course. And she doesn't like Jessica Lynn. Don't know the reason, none of my business. You like who you like. But it was making very light of Jessica Lynn's situation. But Jessica Lynn, all her information is out there, including her daughter's email. I mean, all of the information sat on a platform, on a community post for a few days, right? Noodle Mash's apartment complex, and for a while, she lied about where she lived, and I understand, I would have too, definitely. She lied about, and she could have kept that up. I would have. I would have lied still and said, I don't live there anymore. It's not I moved. I'd have kept that lie going. No shame in that game. You were doxxed. But Mrs. P showed the apartment complex, and I don't even think she showed the right building. I don't know. I don't remember. I think she showed her own building, or she might have said this is the building that Noodle Mash lives at. But she didn't give the exact address. She didn't put phone numbers out. Does it make it right? Heck no, it doesn't. Totally wrong. Did a video on it, called it out. She totally doxed Noodle Mash. But Mandy totally doxed Jessica Lynn and left it up there, right? Left it up there. But that's being made light of, and even to Noodle Mash. Now, you're saying that you're totally scared, and I get it. I would be too, because there's some crazies. Like I said, I would have kept that lie up there. I don't live there no more. Nobody would have blamed you for that. But it's made light of with Jessica Lynn, who has minor children. And that was left up there. I mean, how to get directly to her home. And her neighbor's information. Her landline, her email. I mean, seriously. But that's made light of. I seen a few of those comments from Noodle Mash. Now, I'm not one to take screenshots. I don't care. These people that take screenshots and, like I said, they scurry everywhere in the drama circle. I ain't got time for that. And I do have to say, I have seen a change in some people that their demeanor has changed since they've went over to different communities. There's a few. Their demeanor has absolutely changed. I have seen a change, and this is just my opinion. I have seen a change in Noodle Mash. She's still not foul. She's still not, she doesn't make fun of people. Well, I can't say that for sure, because I don't watch as much. I'm still a sub to her. I don't see as much crafting as she used to do. Um, and yeah, it is a drama circle, so you're going to be involved in the drama. But I see more of sitting with the mean girls, and we're going to talk about that with someone else here too, that I see a really big change in. And some people are saying we see your mask slip with Noodle Mash. I'm not saying that, because I don't see her being awful or mean or any of this. I see a change. Sometimes you are the company you keep, right? And you have a right to go wherever you want to go. You absolutely do. Um, but some of the people that she said she would never have in her circle, because a lot of people say this, that their morals would not allow them to be around certain people. And I'm sorry, I am just going to say it. In my opinion, when there's a falling out, I think people run to the quote enemy, right? Or the person they had a falling out with. And they might do it to grow their channel. They lost subs and they're gaining new subs, and they might start enjoying that person. And maybe that is how they really are. They like that crowd. Um, and maybe that's how they are in real life, and that's how the people they associate with. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, I'm sorry, but morals don't change overnight. And yes, she says a lot that there's a lot of things that some of these creators say that she doesn't agree with. Um, and I get that. There's a lot of things that creators say that I don't agree with. There's things I'm sure that I say people don't agree with, but I would not in real life, if I'm not going to hang out with somebody in real life that is vile, okay, that makes fun of SA victims, that freely would call people the N word, and the only reason why they don't do it, and they said it so in a video, is because this community they're not tolerable, and they're only doing it for a smart business move, is not saying it. Because in real life, they're just words, and it kind of freely runs off of their lips. They kind of realize that, it's offensive to some, but they really don't see it as offensive. They've already stated that. The N word is not offense, it is, to them, are just words. That's how they really feel. They're just not saying it in this community because this community doesn't like the N word being used. Um, they're okay with making fun of addicts, right? With mental health, with telling people to K themselves, right? That's a hard one for me to swallow for certain people that align themselves with people. And just because they say sorry over and over again, that didn't work with Mrs. P, right? And she's got mental health issues. Some of these people that are doing this, they don't. Uh, you sit with people that do a lot of lying, uh, do a lot of making fun of other people, weight shaming, age shaming, body shaming. wishing another pregnant mother splits from what was it? Split to splat because of who her mother is and that she has gestational diabetes. That's kind of wishing harm on the baby. Wishing that the baby didn't even exist. That's who we sit with. Yeah, we're not okay with some of those words. We're not okay with some of the things that they say. I'm sorry, in real life, I wouldn't be okay with any of that. I would not be friends with anybody that talk like that all the time. And some of these people talk like that all the time. We're okay with it because they're funny and they support me. They're not mean to me. They support me financially and emotionally. So it doesn't matter who else they hurt. No. I'm sorry, I have more morals than that. And if some people want to say that I'm trying to put myself up on a pedestal, I guess I am. I guess I am. Because, I'm sorry, I wouldn't want, if you're okay with, having some of these people around your children, if you would bring them home and have them around your children and your grandchildren at the table talking this way, or your spouse, talking the way that they do on social media, saying these things, right? Exactly these things around your family or friends. If you're okay with that, because they say the way that they are on social media is the way they are in real life. You're okay with your grandkids and your children and stuff saying that or hearing that? Have at it then. That's where your morals stand. So yeah, I have seen a change. So that's just me. A lot of people are grouping together, and in my opinion, it's hate bonding. I'm sorry, it is. You see it. They run to the enemy when they have a falling out. Everybody groups together. Y'all know you really don't like each other that much. A lot of you don't like each other at all. Um, you said a lot of nasty stuff about each other, but since you had a falling out, people were like, oh, well, our minds can change. Well, yeah, that can happen. But does it happen like this on a daily without? No. You guys are full of shit. It doesn't happen like this in real life, okay? This is like a Twilight Zone. I said before, like the worst soap opera or the worst reality show I've ever seen in my life. This is not real life, okay? You guys are hate bonding. You're only coming together and saying kumbaya because you're clicking because you don't like someone that you had a falling out with. And yeah, you might start liking the person that you couldn't stand and that you had issues with because you have now a bond because you don't like somebody. You both don't like somebody now. So now you got to, you gossip and, you know, just like junior high. And you can make videos, on that person and hurt them and be foul and do all this nasty stuff. Very childish. But it's content, right? Brings in the views, clicks, money, whatever. And just to back up with the doxing and all that stuff, it is not okay for anybody. I seen somebody, and let me just say that with Lycan, this Sammy, whoever the heck it is, I seen a comment, and Lycan had to mark it out, and he said something like, "Are you guys okay with this?" Absolutely not. That person came in and made a comment before, um, in my comment section. They even said that I was talking about HPV, and I said something about this before. They even said that I had HPV because I was talking about it. Okay. It is not okay to dox anybody. It's not. Not even Lycan. Not even Natasha. Not even Granny. Not even Noodle. It's not okay to put anybody's personal information out there. At all. Alright? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're going to be talking about Kim and Crafton here in a minute. Because with this Mandy situation, they just want to believe Mandy. There's no proof. But, they don't like Granny now. So they're like, well, Mandy comes with receipts. Really? Really? Okay. They're just going off it because they don't like her. Now, Noodle sits with Kim and Crafton now too. And so does a lot of other people. I mean, there's this big old group now. If you don't like Natasha, I said this before, you got the Natasha community, Granny community, you got all these other communities, but they seem to lump into Lycan. Well, Kim and Crafton said that they would not hate bond with Lycan or whatever. Well, yeah, they did. So now you got this big old bunch that are against Natasha and Granny. It's like the Lycan Legion, big old bunch there. We're just going to call them the Lycan Legion bunch. And that would include Kim and Crafton, the DeLorean, all them others. So they're just going off of Mandy said that somebody else, a sub, threatened her or whatever, but she deleted it, took a screenshot and deleted it. Really? Most people would leave it up, or they would show the screenshot as proof. But not Mandy. No, nobody's seen it. Nobody got a screen, these clip channels, you guys get screenshot, and even these other creators, they are on top of these dang channels and get these screenshots of stuff like in a second, in a heartbeat, right? Before it could be taken down, before mods even, like if something is said in somebody's chat, their haters are getting these screenshots before mods can even delete stuff. But nobody has this that Mandy claims that this sub threatened her. But we're just going to believe that it exists. But yeah, nobody has it. Mandy said it happened. So since she said it happened, we're going to believe it. Yeah, the one that made July Nights, that disgusting video that's still up, that she would put her own children in, along with Natasha's children, and somebody else is in that video as well. I can't remember who it is. So we're just going to go off of her word, no proof. And she also said that Granny spread around her personal information. Now, they were just fine until somebody got into Mandy's head. Now, a lot of people are saying that Mandy's not well. I'm not going to get into Mandy's mental health, okay? But somebody got into Mandy's head. Who was it? I don't know what's all going on behind the scenes. I already said I don't want to know. But supposedly, Granny is sending her personal information behind the scenes. That's why Mandy doxed her, And people are going with that narrative. But Mandy will not show the proof. And Kim and Crafton are running around saying, well, she would have to dox herself again to show the proof. And Mandy is saying, well, I took it to the proper authorities. Well, we'll see if anything ever happens with the proper authorities, because I can guarantee you, almost, we'll say 90%, 95%, that we will never hear of anything happening with that being taken to the proper authorities. Right? We'll see if Granny gets anything from the proper authorities from Mandy. Somebody got in her ear. And we know that there's a few people out here on the tubes that are kings and queens of fake screenshots and fake this and that, because they even showed us, right? They showed us how it's done. I don't even trust screenshots anymore. They literally showed us how to do it. But yeah, we're just going to take, because we don't like this person, they don't have to show their proof. Nope. We're going to take their word for it, even though no other channel out there has a clip of anything. Of anything. Nobody does. We're just going to believe this person. And we're going to be okay. We're okay that she doxed. And left this up. You know, put children in danger. Because doxing is dangerous. For everybody. Especially if you have children. And yeah, I'm saying especially if you have children, because in my opinion, it's more dangerous when you have kids, because you have some really weird people out there, right? That would be more inclined to go after kids for whatever reason. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. So, some people are okay because they don't like Granny. Because you guys don't care about the children. You don't. You just don't like Granny. Just like, you know, some didn't think about Noodle's grandchildren either. You don't think about the kids. You just don't like the person. So, we're okay with it. We don't have proof that Granny did anything. Who got into her ear? See, that hasn't been put out there either. Who gave her this information? I kind of heard what Mandy said. She backpedaled. She absolutely did. She actually kind of said who did it, but then she backpedaled. Or who told her or sent her. But let's go with this, that you know, this happened, even though there's no proof. We're going to talk about Kim and Crafton here in a minute, but let's go and talk about Mama Knows Best. Like I said, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, right? It is. Now, Mama Knows Best, I like her. I think she was very sweet. She started out as a sub, and I thought that what Natasha did to her was not the greatest thing to do. She was called out about this Christmas wish list thing. Nobody was supposed to be called out. And the only thing is I thought that Mama Knows Best, that's all, you know, it really got to her. And when she became a creator, and that's all she talked about was this Christmas wish list. And I get it. It really upset her. Now, with me, I can let things go. But some people, they can. It really hurts their heart, and it gets to them. And it really got to her, and she talked about it for, you know, a lot. And again, this is my opinion. She and we got hit that 1,000 mark around the same time or whatever. She went ahead and got monetized. Me, still, I haven't sent anything in to be monetized. She decided where her place is. And that's good. Like I said, you can go wherever you want to go. And I feel like Mama Knows Best is sensitive. She is a sensitive soul. And Natasha would be making fun of, you know, her bangs and kind of how she talked. And that really hurt her feelings. That hurt Mama Knows Best's feelings. And I know she mentioned her grandchildren and her kids, you know, saying something like she had to take care of her grandchildren because her kids weren't capable or something. And Mama Knows Best is like, that's not true, and it hurt her feelings. Well, now, I mean, I have been listening. I've been actually listening to Mama Knows Best, some of her videos. And this is my opinion. Mama Knows Best now is sitting with some people, same group, Voices, you know, she's in with Lycan and Kim and Crafton and all of them. And Mama Knows Best reminds me of, I think her name was Katie, with the Mean Girls, right? Yeah, I watched the Mean Girls. Watched it with my daughter. Because a lot of people out here in the YouTube streets remind me of the Mean Girls. She reminds me of Katie. Caddy. Whatever, Katie, I think her name was. People called her Caddy. You know, she wasn't a mean girl. She was a nice girl to begin with. And then she wanted to fit in. So what did she become? One of the plastics, right? To fit in. So now, when I'm listening to Mama Knows Best, I'm listening to a bully. I didn't listen to this before with Mama Knows Best, but she's getting the views now. She's getting, you know, the memberships. She's getting some super chats, clicks and views, right? She's sitting with the people she wants to sit with that does the bullying and stuff. The company you keep. Now she is making fun of Natasha. She's making fun of people's looks. All her videos is an obsession, in my opinion, with Natasha Cooper. There is no content with Mama Knows Best unless it is Natasha Cooper. And they stream her. It's audio only because I think they're scared to get struck, or she's scared to get struck. But they stream Natasha. And it's just bizarre because I'm not used to hearing this from Mama Knows Best, but she is being a bully. She's doing everything that she was against. This is another one, like I said, I have seen a change since she aligned herself with certain people. Everything that she stood for and that she was against, she is doing. It was done to her, so now she's doing it back, and it's daily. I noticed when Natasha would go live, she would go live a half hour later so that she can stream Natasha. That's her content. That's your content, Mama Knows Best. I still like you, okay, as a person, because I know, I could tell this is not you. This is not you. You're not a bully. But you're laughing and giggling over there. Again, you guys act like you're the Mean Girls. Sitting up there on panel and Voices. I'm sorry. I have not really enjoyed Voices from the get-go. Because of the nasty, vile things that come out of her mouth. And they want to say Natasha's nasty. Voices can be downright rude as hell. She does not care who she hurts. She just don't care. All right? But with Mama Knows Best, her channel, like I said, she's getting the people, you know, in that group, and they are just dogging everything, even Natasha's children. They might be adults, but even stuff about them. I mean, I've heard Mama Knows Best saying something about them waddling or rolling in mud or something like that when they were talking about going to get their feet massaged or something like that. You got to bring up, I mean, seriously, what is her one daughter's not even on, the pregnant daughter's not even on YouTube. So you got to just take those jabs too. I mean, come on. You didn't like it when it was done to you, so you're going to keep doing it nightly. And seriously, this is every single time Natasha goes live. That is all your content is. And then you're like, oh, her long pauses and stuff. That's what you guys do. You're waiting to hear what she says. Long pauses. And then you struggle to have any content, to do anything. If Natasha ends her video or she's not talking or whatever, struggling to talk about anything on your channel. Struggling. There is no content there. None. Without Natasha. And then, I thought Natasha was really making some stuff up about people talking about her money because I wasn't hearing it. I even did a video and I said before that I wasn't hearing people talk about her money, except her. Until I heard Mama Knows Best. Yeah, they talk about her money continuously. Now, I don't know why. I mean, the 20K, yes. It's been almost a year. Okay? That's a different story from the PayPal pools and stuff like that. Because every creator can put their wish list up, PayPal pools, Cash App, Venmo, whatever. They could put all that junk up. I said junk. It's not junk. But they could put all that up. Right? And voices just cannot, for some reason, stop talking about this unborn child. And you guys sit over there and won't say a damn word. Now, I did hear Mama Knows Best say something. She did say, we're not going to talk about the baby. But Voices cannot help herself. She already said what she said, right? About the mother and, about the baby not existing and, the mother splitting. Somebody is in that chat, too, called Split to Splat. Yeah, real cute. Real grown up. We're okay with that, Mama Knows Best, aren't we? To have somebody have that profile. I'm sorry, if somebody, after that comment was made, if somebody came in I don't have a community, but if I did, and if somebody was in my community, and they had a username like that, I'm sorry, I would tell them, no, you're out of here. Change your username. It's not appropriate. Okay? After what was said and done, that's not appropriate. But you guys are okay with that, right? It's okay. Just words. But no, Voices meant it. She even doubled down and said she meant it. And she wished her more pain. But you guys got to sit there and talk about everything. You talk about even her daughter's cervix, for God's sake. Natasha, when she does her lives, you guys are like, well, why are you talking about this? Nobody wants to hear this. Her community does. Why are you listening to it? If you don't want to hear it, why are you listening to it? Do your own content. That's another thing I don't get is why people stream others' stuff. Why can't you do your own content? But that's all you do. And like I said, back to Voices. She had to, I seen one where she's like, I got a picture for y'all. And then she shows a picture of a baby. I guess the baby was on Hee-Haw. It was like a toddler, maybe 2 years old. This is going to be the grandbaby in a couple of years. You guys all know you don't agree with that. Okay? And then shows this picture, right? You know you don't agree with that. But you ain't going to say anything because you're scared of Voices. You're scared of her. And then you guys are talking about, I don't know, I guess Natasha might have said that, the baby, they're going to have the baby, hold her hands while she opens up Christmas presents or something like that. And basically, voices and other people were agreeing how ridiculous it is. The baby's eyes, it's a newborn, its eyes aren't going to be focusing. And then you made it about yourselves, right? And then voices started crying a little bit because she has a family member that's on oxygen. And I guess they're giving up that, don't quote me word for word, but, the holidays or whatever, because, the electric bill is higher and some of us, are struggling. So basically, we're struggling to pay our utilities and we got to do this and we got to do that while you're lavishing this newborn baby. Who does that? That's not going to remember it. A newborn, it must be nice type of thing. While there's real people, like us struggling. Here's the thing. I get the struggle. I struggled. I was a single mom with 3 kids. I've already said before, and I worked hard, long hours, dealing with an ex that I already said was horrible. But when my son was born in December, 2 weeks before Christmas. And he got Christmas presents, okay? And yes, I have the cute pictures of him, he couldn't open them up, of course. His eyes weren't focused. But I got the cute pictures of, pretending that he was opening the Christmas presents. It was his first Christmas. Memories. Pictures for memories, okay? Oh my gosh, some of the things that people want to pick apart. And a lot of you guys that are in chat, you guys know you did the same thing for your kids and your grandkids that were, almost newborns, maybe born in November, December. It was their first Christmas. You did the same thing, but you're not going to speak up. You're not going to say anything because voices is too aggressive. You see how she gets, how nasty and vile she gets and how she'll attack. Look how she's attacking Granny. They were pretty close until she was vile about, Natasha's daughter. Look how that went down because Granny said, that was wrong. I don't like Natasha either, but that's pretty wrong to say about, an innocent woman and her baby. And then, she goes on to talk about, all these bows. She's going to be buying all these bows. How many of you all that's sitting in that chat had baby girls or granddaughters and bought a bunch of bows? Or had, the headbands, those cute little headbands for your granddaughters. Or for your children. I bought my granddaughters so many. And, those little tutus, those little cute little ballerina outfit things. I can't tell you how many I bought and the cute little matching headbands. Way too many, okay? That's what we do. But, voices and others have to make a big deal out of it. It's none of your damn business. Are you buying it? No, you're not. And I understand times are hard. I mean, utilities go up. My utilities are outrageous. I said this before. I did a video about, when Natasha was talking about the air conditioners and the utilities and stuff. My utility bill is outrageous, and I'm on a budget. But I am paying all during the summer. I am paying that high budget cost for last winter, and it's high. I get it. There's a lot of people that are paying high bills. But just because other people can afford to buy nice things or whatever, I don't know what to, I mean, for example, I'm going to give an example. I was made to feel bad last Christmas. Okay? Felt a little bad. Even though I said that I do give. Okay? I'm not going to put out there exactly what I do for my community locally. I don't have to. But I do give. Okay? And I've already said that my kids don't live in the same state as I do, and I have grandchildren. So I took a picture of my Christmas tree. I do every year. Just like all my friends do on Facebook. We take a picture, take a picture of your tree and post it on Facebook. Hey, I got my tree up or whatever. So I got my presents for my kids and my grandkids, and I got them wrapped and stuff, and I have to ship out. I ship them out of state. And I had them wrapped in under the tree, waiting to box them up and ship them. And I'm going to tell you, last year it cost me almost $500 to just ship. Absolutely ridiculous. This year, it's going to be just money. I have shipped for the last 4 years. I have shipped their presents. I think it's been the last 4 years. Don't quote me on that. But the prices of shipping it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm thinking to myself, as much as I spent on shipping all of the gifts, I could have bought a ton of stuff with that money, right? So anyways, I had the stuff wrapped and under the tree, and took a picture and put it on Facebook, of my Christmas tree and the presents and stuff. And, my friends are like, oh, I love your tree, and oh, you got your Christmas shopping all done, and that's what we do, and when they put up their tree and they got their presents, same thing. Oh, your tree's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I had one person make a comment that made me feel kind of bad. They were like, do you think you bought enough presents? It's not all about presents. My gosh, it looks... Because there was quite a few under there. I have 3 kids, okay? And 8 grandchildren. And some of them that was under there were also for my dogs. I had some presents for my grand puppies, okay? And also for other people, my friends, all right? So it wasn't just all going out of state or whatever. But, yeah, it did look like a lot. But it made me feel shitty. Okay, because they're like, you think you got enough, I don't know. It just made me feel bad, like, I don't know, just the words. It shouldn't have, because I'm the one that bought it, okay? I work for it, and nobody pays my bills. And if I want to buy for my grandchildren and my children and my friends and whatever, my animals and my grandpups, it's nobody's business. And so anyways, back to this scenario. It's none of your business what they do for their grandchild. And Voices, for some reason, she is got it for this baby. Because she talks about this baby quite often. And when she does, in my opinion, it's harsh. Or ugly. Or she makes jabs at the baby. Just like having to post that picture of this is what her baby's going to be in a couple of years. And who does this? The baby's only going to be a newborn. And, for at Christmas time or whatever. So what? Who cares? None of your business. So it looks like Natasha, her channels went down, right? So you have a lot of, praise God, her channels went down, yay, going around, just like when her channels went down before. A lot of people are happy about that. But what content are you going to have with no channels? With their channels not, because some of you, I'm sorry, Natasha is your content. She is. Just like with Kim and Craft and going over her old videos. I mean, I guess that's fine if that's what you want to do. But with Mama Knows Best, that is what they have been doing. Is waiting until she's on for about a half hour and then going on. And then they're scrambling. They're scrambling for the sound. To get the sound. How do you get it? How do you get it? I'm trying to get it. And then Voice is trying to send $1 to when she had her channels up. I can't do super chat, but I can send $1 so I can save my piece. That's kind of stupid too. Because think about it. You have 50 people, 100 people that send her $1 to say their piece to her PayPal. I mean, I know it's down now, but when it was up, even when they take the fees out and stuff, she's still making buck off of you. Just so you can say something to her. Kind of dumb. I mean, save that money. Give it to Mama Knows Best, I guess. But anyways, her channels went down. And I guess she was over at Twitch. And that's the thing. You guys said that you wanted her off of YouTube. I've heard Voices say, we want her away. We want her off of YouTube. She needs to go off of YouTube. So I guess she was on Twitch. And so they had to follow her over to Twitch because they need Natasha for content. And I've said before that Natasha needs other people for content. I don't know. Maybe so, but they do. And I don't know what Natasha was saying. I didn't listen. It was kind of hard to hear because they were having trouble with the sound. And they're talking over... it's like they're talking to Natasha when she's not there. Kind of bizarre, but... She was off of YouTube on a different platform and you followed her. Right? You followed her so you can stream her. You wanted her off of YouTube. You got what you wanted, but now you're following her to a different platform so you got content. So I guess then Natasha got another channel and they streamed her again. That's what they do nightly. That's their thing. If Natasha's going to go live, then they're going to go live. I don't know if Mama Knows Best doesn't, if Natasha's not live. I didn't look. I was going to, but I didn't. But if I looked, I would probably see if Natasha's not live, Mama Knows Best might not be live. She might not do a video. Because what content would they have? In my opinion, they struggle to make any content without Natasha. Without talking about her, or basically most of the content is streaming her, so they can talk about. They were talking about the shed, and about insurance if she needs insurance on her shed, and this. Seriously, I mean, come on. Get some content. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, Mama Knows Best has turned into what she said that she was against. And that is, she's being a bully. If you were going to body shame, and she's doing it, if you were going to, and her demeanor has totally changed too. She is totally different than what she used to be. Again, only my opinion. So we're going to move along. We're going to talk about Kim and Crafton. And I did a video on Kim and Crafton with this seizure thing, okay? And now that some more information came out, I thought to myself, now I feel like an idiot. And then I thought back, no, I'm glad I did the video because it was still important. And the video was because my son has epilepsy, all right? And he's dealt with it since he was 6 years old, and he's in his early 20s right now. So, well, early mid-20s. Getting close to mid-20s. So, I know what he has been through. And he did have one episode, only one, where he got violent after a seizure. Not during, after. And when I say violent, no, he did not punch anybody. No, he verbally was violent. I did that video. All my videos are up. I wanted to share that it can happen where it was very out of character for him. And it was when he was a teenager. He was at the hospital. They had security there because he was, even though he's a littler guy, well, I made that sound like he was still a kid, and he's not. But anyways, he's on the smaller side. But he didn't hit nobody. He didn't do that. But some of the words that were coming out of his mouth and just him being agitated, they had security in the room. I did a whole video on that, and it was after he had cluster seizures. He had grand mal, and then he had a cluster, which is one after another, okay? So they didn't restrain him. That's why they had security in the room. And he had the seizure when he was with friends of his they were with their parents. They were at a church. He was volunteering. They had a food bank, and when he had the seizure, they took him to the hospital and called me. So anyways, I did a video because this did happen to him once. My ex-husband, the second ex, he also got violent after a seizure and kicked an officer. And he also broke. He got really strong. He broke when he was on the hospital, or not the hospital, I'm sorry, the ambulance on the gurney. He broke the straps. He got really strong. But he kicked the officer with, because in the small town we lived in Tennessee, officers would always show up with the ambulance. It was a really small town. With the volunteer fire department, they all showed up. So anyways, that was when he came out of the seizure. That was after the deep sleep. So I was just talking about that, explaining that, okay, that you can have a violent episode. Now, this is after the seizure. When you're having a seizure, you're not aware of it at all. And yes, you can punch because you're convulsing, okay? So your body's going everywhere. So you can do some punches. Your hands are contracting or whatever, but this is after you come out of the sleep that you go into. So I did a video, and Kim and Crafton thanked me for, or at least not Kim, but Crafton thanked me for the video or whatever, came over in my comment section. This was before, just recently, I seen the charges on Crafton. Now, I knew that he had DV charges on him, and I explained that I also explained in this video, let me back up, that there's many nurses out there, and, you know, because it was being said that he was not at the hospital, that he was at jail or in jail. And I explained that there's many nurses out there I know that work in a hospital, and you know that if somebody comes from jail, or if they come, you know, if they're arrested on site and something happens and they have to go to the hospital, they're already under arrest. So they're going to show as booked in. But if you go to the hospital, you're automatically put as private. And so it's still going to show as booked in. It's not going to show if you call at the hospital and you ask for somebody that is a inmate, or, you know, they're under arrest, they're basically an inmate, right? They're going to be private. You're not going to be able to get any information on that person. They're going to show as they don't exist at the hospital. So it's going to always show that they were booked in the jail the entire time. That's what I'm trying to get at. Sorry, this video is going on forever. But all nurses out there that work at a hospital know this. This is clear across the board. But I did not see all the... all I knew is what Natasha said, because she's the one that dug in. And I don't agree with digging in. I don't. But she read out some of the charges. I did not know the extent of the charges, okay? I just knew that there was talk about... that he strangled Kim, and there was domestic violence. Now, I said that when you wake up from this, that, you know, he could have, right when he woke up, he could have went after her, because you're disoriented. You know, you're disoriented. And that would still make her a victim, no matter what. And she had every right to call the police and protect herself. She's still a victim, even though it was a medical crisis. I did not know, because I don't go digging on people, I did not know all of the charges until somebody put it out there. Again, I don't believe in digging in on people. But people want to ask me, well, what do you think about, you know, this person putting their criminal record out? Well, Kim and Crafton put their record out. So, you know, if someone's going to dig in on you, I don't know. Is it right to dig in back? You be the judge. I don't have a record, but if somebody put out my personal... I don't know what I would do. Probably the same thing. Go back after them. We're only human, right? I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That's my honest answer. I don't think I could let it go, because we are only human. Retaliation, hey, you want to put out my stuff that happened years ago, that I paid my debt to society? Well, here's the crap that you lied about, and that's happening to you right now. Maybe that's what I would do. All right? I'm not going to lie. But I did not know the extent of what his charges were. Like I said, I don't dig into people, and I did not know. I did not know that a weapon was involved. I think maybe it was said in the past and I just didn't pay attention. Now, somebody is saying that he held a knife to her throat. That is hearsay, so that is just hearsay. Now, people are going to say, why are you talking about their domestic violence? Or this domestic violence issue? Well, they're putting out quite a bit of stuff themselves. So this is just stuff that's already out there. And they want to talk about a lot of people's past stuff and put out their records and everything else, right? So, and I did a video on this. And they're the ones that put all this stuff out there. They're the ones that put out... And I remember Natasha was doing a live. That's how we found out. And she stopped the live. Now, we know there's been a beef between them. And she stopped that, and she's like, oh my gosh, Kim just posted something happened to Crafton, and we know what all this post said, okay? And basically, now I don't know if the word coma was ever used, I have no idea, but we were made to believe, I'm sorry we were, because I even did a video, and I know I'm rambling here, but I did a video because Mrs. Portland was talking poorly about Crafton and Kim when this situation was going on. And I even said in that video, Crafton is going through, he's in the hospital going through a situation, and Mrs. Portland, you're being pretty rude. But we were made to believe that he might not come out of this. We were made to believe in that post and future post that he had a pretty bad seizure and that he was in the hospital, and they did not know what his future was going to be like, if he was going to regain any of his, I don't even know how it was worded now, but if he was going to regain function, basically, if he was going to be the same, if he was even going to be functional, right? And then all of a sudden, now I know there was a fund, and I even said that I don't think any money was raised on that fund, and it was Ahmad that put the fund out there. So I'm not even going to talk about that. But I remember all of that because Natasha asked for prayers for Crafton. And all the community, most of the community, they came together and put their differences aside. And there was a lot of prayer and this and that. And a lot of people believed it. And then, then it came out that he was actually arrested. But I didn't give it that much thought because, Kim explained some of what happened. And like I said, when you deal with a child that has seizures, and you've been around a lot of people that, has a seizure disorder, no matter, if it's a traumatic brain injury or if they have epilepsy or other reasons why they have seizures, you can kind of get it. Because seizures can also, after you have a seizure, can make you very depressed too. That does happen. I talked about that in my video too. After a seizure, you can be depressed for days. Can be. Muscle weakness, all sorts of things. But I did not realize all these charges were on him until recently. The terrorist threats, the strangulation, the battery, the weapon. And I'm sure it's been said, I just didn't catch it. I wasn't paying attention. So I'm still glad that I put that video out, but now my stance has totally changed. And I had to, normally I don't go outside and ask questions to outside people about YouTube stuff. But my son had two neurologists. One was when he was younger, and then one as an adult that he has now. And then I have, not going to say too much, could talk to a few people that I know. But anyways, I asked them a few questions. All right. And some of you nurses out there, because one of them said, I seen the comment and they're like, there's many different kinds of seizures that people need to know about. Yeah, there is. You got grand mal seizure, you have your drop seizures, you have your staring seizures. There's many different types of seizures, right? There is. Your grand mal seizure, which I think she's talking that Crafton had, that misfires your entire brain. And that's when you convulse like you do. Other seizures, it's misfiring different parts of your brain. There's rumors going around, like I said, and it's hearsay, I guess, I think, I don't know, that he bit her. And when you're having a seizure, yes, you can bite. My son was a tongue biter. That's why you don't go near their mouth. You don't put anything in their mouth. They don't swallow their tongue. That's a old wives' tale or whatever. You put them on their side, their tongue can fall back and restrict their breathing, but you can't swallow your tongue. So you don't put anything in their mouth to try to hold their tongue back. You can ruin their teeth, okay? You just get them on their side to open their airway, protect their head. That's about all you can do. Let them seize it out. If it lasts for a certain, and you're not getting all tongue-tied again. The neurologist will let you know what is safe, how many minutes or whatever. And if it goes over a certain amount of time, then that's when you need to worry. Call the ambulance, or in my son's case, we had diazepam on hand, and if that didn't work, then he went to the hospital. Or, if they get injured, like last time in Tennessee, his last seizure, he dislocated his shoulder. They had to take him into the hospital to get his shoulder put back into place. So just saying, it just depends. But some of these charges, like I said, I talked to my son's neurologist too, and then a couple other people. Never in their career, no, I didn't mention no names, and I didn't mention anything about YouTube. I just said, a case scenario. After someone has a grand mal seizure, and they've already had the seizure, they've already came out of this deep sleep, and, there's still some confusion going on, the brain just misfired. Have you ever heard of someone getting violent to where they have strangled somebody, they have held a weapon to somebody, beat somebody up, something like that? I did not get one. Yes, I've heard of that before. Haven't got that. Did not get that from these neurologists. Now, I have got right after a seizure, I have gotten a little bit of violence, angry, depressed, verbally, outburst, tears outburst. This is like coming right out of the deep sleep when you're still confused. But what I was told is you're still so confused and weak from having that seizure. And I do know that from, my son being weak. You're still disoriented to be able to have the control to be able to actually overtake somebody. That makes any sense? To actually go and pick up a weapon and hold it up to somebody and cause damage like that. Now, they did tell me, I got to take this back. They did tell me that they heard, one of them did hear, one of, in their career, of a punch. A punching out and hitting somebody. That was right after coming out of the deep sleep, okay? The deep sleep, and still being in that confused state. But not going and, jumping up and attacking somebody because you still don't have your faculties there to do that. If that makes any sense. So, not only that, but if you think about it, if this went down, which I really didn't, if this went down the way that, they said it went down, Kim would still be a victim no matter what. Okay? But the charges, they would have looked at it that, hey, this man just had a massive seizure or whatever. He shouldn't be looking at charges like he's looking at. If it was a medical issue that caused it. I don't see that. I'm sorry, I don't. Not all those charges. I can see, maybe a few that they would have charged him with, and then, sort it out when the time comes. Not all those that they're charging him with. Nope, sorry. Don't believe it now for 1 minute. I was fooled back then because I didn't know of all those charges. Or I was blind to it, didn't hear it. But I'm not buying it now. And the thing is why did you put... That's another thing. Why do you put it out there? Nobody would have been talking about it. And nobody should have been talking about it. But you put it out there. And yeah, you might have put it out there as something different. But these people dig. That's another thing. These people dig. And I wouldn't have put anything out there. Nothing. But people have to. They got to put something out there. And then, I don't know who it was. Was it Natasha? Somebody dug and found out that he was arrested and for this incident. And that's what I'm talking about. These people are good at what... I don't get it. I don't get with digging into people's personal information or people's bullshit or whatever. But when you put stuff out, people are going to find more information on it. They are. So the best thing is not to put stuff out there. And it kind of sucks because sometimes you do want to put some things here and there. I mean, I shared the story about, what happened with my ex in front of my kids and stuff like that. I mean, you want to share some things here and there, but sometimes you just can't. You think that people are your friends out there in YouTube land. You really do. And then this happens. Something happens. There's a fallout or whatever. And look at all the ugliness that goes on. You think that you got a good friend. And there's a fallout. And then it turns ugly. It absolutely does. And you find out that friend was never your friend. Because if they were, they could walk away. And I know I'm sniffly now. I put this on pause because I had to sneeze. I'm probably going to sneeze again. People don't act like this. I've said this so many times. Do you act like this in real life with your real friends? Or do people have real friends? I don't know. I don't act like this to my friends. But you got to put out all the ugly dirt. I mean, who do you trust out there? Can you trust anybody? It seems like nobody out in this drama circle can trust anybody. Because you think that you found a friend, a good friend, and then for some reason they turn on you or they get mad at you for the stupidest things. A lot of times it's really stupid. Other times it could be major. But then they got to put all the dirt out on you. So now we're going to talk about Lycan's revenge porn. Okay, that Kim and Crafton are so upset about. And I have to say, I've called it out. Pictures should never be shared, okay? I already talked about that and called it out for the people in the back. But here's the thing. They're outraged now, right? They're outraged. But you weren't outraged when you were talking about it, you know, when you were talking about liking and after you seen the picture and calling them fungus. Yeah, I seen the comments. You know, talking about the fungus and all that. You weren't outraged when you got the picture, no matter how it was sent. Now, Jessica said that it was an accident, and she's shown, you know, her proof where she was talking about her child. I think that's what it was, and the picture was like in the middle, and she said that, you know, why would I send this picture while I was talking about my child? It was like grouped in there. And Kim is like, no, that, you know, whatever. However it happened. And then I think Tammy, I don't even know how Tammy got a hold of it. If Jessica showed Tammy. Okay, this is what I'm going to say about this. I don't agree with sharing, you know, with these. Okay, let me back up. How many of you women out there had a guy in your past, a boyfriend, send you a picture, or you guys had a female send you a picture and you showed your girlfriend, hey, look at this? Hands up, because I know you guys have. I know you have. All right? Now, I might be almost 53. I'll be 53 in January. But I'm not a prude. Okay? You know you have. I mean, Kim is trying to sound like, I'm sorry, she's trying to sound like, oh, she's holier than freaking now. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So anyways, I don't agree with revenge porn. I don't agree with sending nudes to anybody. Jessica said that Lycan might have shared. I have not seen or heard anybody say they got Jessica's, besides, I think Natasha said it once. I'm not sure. Could be wrong about that. But I haven't seen anybody come forward. But can he have shown somebody her pictures and they just haven't had a falling out with him? That could be true. We don't know. He says he hasn't, so as of right now, we have to believe him, right? Because nobody has came forward and said, yes, I have Jessica's butt or boob pics. But if he has a falling out with somebody that he might have shown and they come for, you know, who knows? Don't know. He might not have showed anybody. But the thing is whenever Kim got that picture, if she was so upset about it and thought it was wrong, she would have deleted it. Why did she hold on to it? Because she was okay with it. That's why. Why did she hold on to another guy's dong picture? We know why. We know why. Why do people hold on to stuff? They hold on to it in case they need to use it at a later date. That's why people do this shit, right? Because I know if somebody sent me like a pic like that, and it was either an accident or they just sent it and said, hey, look at this crap, I'm deleting that stuff off my phone. I'm sorry. I don't need some guy's junk on my phone. All right? But she held on to it for a reason. And she was okay with it because she talked about it in chats. Absolutely, you did, Kim. Don't sit there and lie and say you didn't. Because you did. When you were friends with Granny, you participated. Now, we have to remember, though, everybody is outraged because Jessica Lynn talked about his fungus. Okay? I don't agree with that either. I've already said that before. I don't have to rehash that. But people are outraged about that, but didn't Lycan start the crap with his lies about her hoo-ha. And people made content about it, saying she sent him a picture of his hoo-ha, or her hoo-ha, I'm sorry. And that it looked like I said before when I did a video, that she needed to get to her gynecologist ASAP. And it was a lie. Didn't that start before? I think it did. So then she did her thing. Now, I don't agree with all this back and forth when it comes to personal stuff like that. But he kept going on, and now people are still calling her warts. They're still calling her some really nasty stuff because of what he put out that was a lie. So then she did what she did, like I said, back and forth. But let's get back to this picture. Kim's like, it's criminal. It's revenge porn. And they gave it back to Lycan. Okay? They gave it back to Lycan, where it belongs. So now they're buddy-buddies with Lycan, right? Lycan's a good guy now. They said they weren't going to be friends with Lycan, but yeah, they are. You can be friends with whoever you want. But we all knew it was, we knew this was going to happen. This is how it goes. But Kim's outraged, and Granny needs to go to prison for this. It was revenge porn. Kim, you were okay with it. You were absolutely okay with it. You had it on your phone. You kept it on your phone. And Natasha did make a good statement. I have to say, she did. I'm sniffling, guys. I swear. It's the weather, it's allergies, it's sinuses. That's it. I'm nasally, too. Just saying. She did make a good statement. She said, in all of these people out in the drama circle, they blamed her for this journal. Now, Granny passed it on. I called that out for the people in the back. Someone gave it to her. She gave it to Lycan, but, Lycan is the one that read it out. He put it out there. But everybody is saying, well, it's Natasha. I mean, they wanted to put the blame on Granny. Okay. Even though Lycan read it out. But then they want to put it, it's on Natasha. Because she put it out on social media to begin with. So like Natasha said, she goes, if we're going to go around and we're going to fit this narrative that I put it out, I put this journal out on social media about this picture, who's to blame for this picture? Well, actually, Natasha didn't put it out on social media. She put it out to her friends, who she thought were her friends, right? She thought they were her friends. Well, Lycan sent the picture to who he thought was his friend, girlfriend, whatever. He's the one that put it out there to begin with. If you want to go with this narrative that everybody's going with on that side, that it was Natasha that actually put that journal out to begin with, well, the same should go with Lycan. He's the one that put his goods out there to begin with. He did. And, he's got a video out there too. I'm sorry. But why are you guys doing this? He doesn't seem too heartbroken that his junk is out on social media. Because he's got a video out there too. That Natasha's got a hold of. Granny had nothing to do with that video. I mean, that seems to be something that he does. I mean, if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, I mean, come on now. You guys meet people on YouTube, and you're doing, the deed on, what do you call it? You would call it virtual deed. I don't know. And just sending pics over social media. Don't you think something might happen? Or you're sending pics over the phone or something. The way people have fallen outs and this and that. Or, something accidentally could get in the wrong hands. You never know. So why do it? But he doesn't seem heartbroken that his junk was out before. Not saying it's right. Nobody's junk should be spread around. Just saying it shouldn't. But going back to Kim, she said, oh, his revenge porn, his revenge porn. Seriously, Kim, you had it in your phone. Get over it. You had no problem keeping that in your phone and not deleting it. You had no problem talking about it when you were friends. You only have a problem now because you're not friends. So now you have a problem. You had no issue with Granny's past criminal record, right? She paid her debt to society. You want to say that she has not paid any of her fines. The last that I knew, you had to get off of probation from what I don't know how all the states are, but if you didn't pay anything of restitution, they wouldn't let you off of probation. I mean, if you weren't paying anything at all in all this time, normally they wouldn't let you off of probation. I don't know. But I guess according to Kim, she hasn't paid a dime. Because they look at all that, right? They do the drug tests. They make sure that you kept your nose clean, literally. And they make sure that you're paying your fines and your restitution, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, sometimes you're the papers that you get at court or that you think that you're getting isn't all correct. It's not all updated. It's not, but you think you know it all. You think you do. Okay. Just saying, I don't know. I don't know what she's paying. It's none of my business. It's none of your business. I mean, you guys have your own shit that you really need to worry about that's coming up, right? What are you going to, I don't know. What are you going to have to worry about? What I'm trying to point out is the double standards bullshit that goes on in this drama circle. You were okay with her past, okay? She's already put it out there. It was for theft. That's not, it's not okay. It's not. She did her time. Natasha had, what was hers? Hers was for theft, too. It's not okay. She did her time. Well, I don't want to say did her time because I don't think either one went to jail, but y'all know what I'm saying. They're off of probation. They pay their debt to society, whatever. They did their time. But you guys are looking at something a little more serious. But, we want to keep bringing up other people's, their skeletons in their closet. And like I said, you were okay with her criminal past and, her fighting through what she fought through. And it happened how long ago, but now you want to drag that up. And she brought, she said that she had addictions and stuff. And now you want to keep bringing that up. And she says she's in recovery and you want to say, no, she's tweaking and she's doing this and she's doing that. She wouldn't have got off of probation if she was tweaking. Because they do drug tests. She would have violated her probation. So now you're not okay with what she did in the past. Now it goes against your morals because she stole, but you were fine with it before. Now you're saying that she lied about her cancer, but you stood up for her before and said, no, you know what? Like I said, hate bonding, I believe you, I stand behind you, and then when we have a falling out, I'm going to dig up all your shit. I'm not okay with this and that. You guys, some of you need some serious help. A job, a life, I don't know, friends, family, something. You digging up on people, digging shit up, saying that you don't stand for bullying, you don't stand for doxing, you don't stand for going real life on people, you don't stand for, this goes against everything that you're about, but you sit with the very people that do it. But as long as they're not doing it to you, you're okay with them. No, you're not. You're supporting them. That's almost like telling an alcoholic or a drug addict, you know, you love them, you support them, but you're not okay with their addiction at all. But hey, let's go to the bar. I'll sit with you at the bar. Or I'll take you around the corner. I'm not okay with it. I'm not. I don't agree with it. But I'll go sit with you at the bar. Or I'll take you around the corner to where they're selling. That's kind of how it is, right? So, like I said, it's a very long video. I just kind of pulled it off on how I see it. People can agree with me, not agree with me. That's just, my opinion. Some people are really, really getting nasty. And, here's another thing that I'm going to throw out there. A lot of people are complaining. They are complaining that, it's around the holidays. And my bills are so high. I seen this, like I said, with Voices and Mama Knows Best, especially Voices when she was upset about Natasha's grandbaby getting hair bows and Christmas presents, when she's a newborn and she's not going to be able to focus. There's a lot of jobs out there that, when you're disabled and you're getting disability, you can still make money. I mean, that's a given. SSI, SSDI, you can still make money. There's a limit of how much you can make, and everybody that is on it, they know what their limit is. And there's jobs out there. I mean, if you can be on social media, you can work that computer, right? With those fingers, you can get on panels. You can panel hop all day long. And you can sit up and be at that desk or sit up in that chair and be up there, day and night and whatever. There's a lot of jobs out there. I mean, if you can sit that long on YouTube, there's jobs out there you can do when you're disabled. There's a lot of office jobs that you would be able to do, like at call centers, right? Which isn't physical, because I get it if you got a physical disability or even mental disability. There's jobs that you could do where you're not on your feet if you got can't stand on your feet or whatever. Because if you can be, like I said, sitting on YouTube, and a lot of people are like, well, with the stress and stuff, I mean, how much more stressful can it be than YouTube at this drama circle? Seriously. I'm sure that like a call center or something like that would be less stressful. Or, going to a hospital and working at their call center, or, there's a lot of different jobs out there. There is. Where you can sit and work and make, part-time and make that extra money to pay, I don't know, an extra bill in the home, 20 hours a week. I mean, you spend more than that on YouTube, right? Panel hopping, or, mainly panel hopping, or talking shit about people. There's a lot of jobs too, because I get some people, they're like, I can't leave my home because of my anxiety. I just can't do it. I get that. There's a lot of remote jobs now. You know, with the C virus that happened, a lot of jobs went remote, and they decided to keep some jobs remote because they don't have to use up a lot of space. A lot of hospitals, when I was talking about hospitals, registration, there's a lot of like insurance, billing and stuff like that. Some of them are not even asking for, they want a little bit of clerical or a little bit of billing experience, but not much. And you can go right online and put in applications. You don't even have to go anywhere. And when you do remote, remote means they bring you, you're at your home, and they will supply you with all the equipment that you need. And you actually work for the company. So you might even, you know, get insurance unless, you know, you want to work part-time. Insurance companies, you know, Aetna, Humana, all those companies like that. Most of those people that call you from those companies, they work from home. They work remote. So just saying, there's a lot of different ways to make money, and you can do it from home. Now, if you do have a felony, that might be a little bit harder with these companies with remote. Just saying, like with hospitals and insurance companies and stuff like that, it might be harder if you do have a felony on you. But for those that don't, it's a good way to make extra income. It's something to check out, because a lot of people are out there saying, you know, I ain't got this and I ain't got that, and I don't know what, you know, what I'm gonna do. The bills are up and this and that. Well, you're on the tubes. You know how to use the computer. I mean, heck, you got a lot of you, most of you know how to use it a lot better than I do. And you're on, you say you go to this panel and that panel and this and that. Well, you know, then why not do some check out about getting a remote job or something, or see if there's anything remote that you can get that's working from home to earn some extra income. It's a thought. Just saying. So I'm going to go. This has been going for a couple of hours, and I said it was going to be a long video. And like I said, I probably pissed some people off, but it had to be said. Well, I guess it didn't have to be, but it's just something I wanted to say. So the holidays are coming up, so I'm going to stick with some cooking and just some whatever videos for a bit, and just see how it goes, because I said what I needed to say. Like I said, some of y'all need to really get some help, because your obsession, there's a lot of people that are obsessed with certain people, and it shows. It's really showing, and it also looks like some of you are turning into the same people that you said, you know, the bullies that you said that you wouldn't be. That's just my opinion. That's what I'm seeing. So everyone have a good one, and we'll just catch you again.